Okay, so you guys have a pretty... Actually, both teams have pretty strong team fights. It's kind of a 5v5 versus 5v5 comp, pretty much, depending on how things go.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Don't hesitate to use your... Well, I guess you're getting ready for...
1 second here.
Go ahead.
I don't think it's my connection. I don't know. I gotta go check something real quick.
Okay, is it lagging?
BRB.
Okay.
Alrighty. I think I might have fixed it.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to go back a few seconds here.
Yeah,
So, one thing is to be careful. I know you want to have your stun up for level 2, and that's important. But you also don't want to be giving up so much CS because you're holding on to it. So you end up you've already missed 4 out of the possible. You've got 5, but you missed 4 CS already. And so you get a good level 2 stun on her and get her down low. But since she has so much sustain, that's kind of limited value. It's not worthless or anything, but this is what you want to secure, right? Because this is going to be an advantage that will last. Whereas Nidalee, maybe not, depending on how she reacts to it. So, you get a good trade in, but you give up so much for it. It's kind of worth for her, honestly, for you to miss that much CS.
Okay.
Yeah, because you missed more than a full wave there. So that's just.
I'm not sure. I think I was lagging. I don't remember though.
Okay, well that's possible, but I just then.
Lagging a few games back. I'm not sure if that was it.
Well, if that's the case, then just kind of take the principle of it. Then just try not to. You almost never want to give up CS to trade. And so you can kind of try to set yourself up so that you have a stun at level 2. But you can also, have it be set up so that you're using your Q, and so you're farming with it, and then maybe you use the stun the first time it comes up on a CS, but you're timing it such that by the time you hit level 2, you've got maybe 3 stacks, and then you WQ for a stun or something, to bring the stun up or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but don't give up the CS, because that's the advantage that you secure no matter what. Whereas the trades are a little bit less less solid. But I mean, overall you're doing well. You got an aggressive position, you're bullying her, you're keeping her from CSing freely, so it's just kind of polishing and optimizing. You need to have warded by now, though.
Yeah, I suck at that. I always forget.
By 3:30, but certainly by 4 minutes. Depends a little bit on who's jungling and how fast their clear time is, but if you're gonna be positioning this aggressively, this is what you want to be able to do is position this aggressively. But you're putting a big bullseye on your back. Fortunately, Nidalee's kind of a moron, but.
Yeah, that was easy.
So she handed that to you, but like a smarter opponent is just gonna sit back here and farm at range, and then wait for Wukong to get in position. Because if you're pushed up this far and you haven't warded, that is potentially at least pretty free. If he comes in and gets you down pretty low, and then she comes in and does her Cougar combo, then you're in trouble. So as you continue to move up, you'll get punished for that harder and harder and harder. You won't be able to just rely on, just purely your own individual 1v1 mechanics and stuff to win you lanes. Not that you always can now, but it'll be more and more true that your map awareness and warding and all of that stuff will will be increasingly vital in maintaining the advantage that you create through your solid laning. Okay, so you grab blasting. Okay, that's good.
I always try to get a piece of Rabadon's in boots. Like if I don't get a kill, I'll go back and get amplifying tome in boots.
Yeah.
I'll have enough.
Yeah, getting raw AP on Annie is solid.
Boots are good for trading and get in and get out really quick.
Yeah, no, those are both good buys. The only thing I probably maybe would have changed up is maybe skimping on 1 or 2 of those potions and buying a ward.
Okay.
Because again, the only thing that can do, like, because you got to be thinking about it right now. Like you have an advantage to the point right now. You have a 10 CS lead, or whatever it was before you got those couple, and you got a kill lead. So you got a blasting wand, and Nidalee's going to come back to lane with less than that something. And anyway, you've got more CC and burst than she does, regardless, because you scale harder. And so you got to be thinking to yourself, okay, what's realistically the only way that I could, that this could start going south for me, or going poorly for me, and that maybe you mess up and she makes an amazing play. That's possible, I guess, but that's in your control. The only like thing that you can't do a lot about, or can't do directly control, that could really lose you the lane is Wukong, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where you start. As soon as you get this lead, it's important to invest in some offense, absolutely, to keep your advantage. But you got to spend some of that gold on vision too, so that you can continue being aggressive. Because if you're going to continue bullying Nidalee and continue pushing the lane up, that's just opening yourself up more and more and more and more. And that's how potentially you can end up handing an advantage right back to your lane opponent, even though you're playing it way better. 1v1. But yeah, your vision control of the lane has got to be solid too, so you can keep your hand on her throat. And obviously, I mean, she's got vision up now, but she's kind of overextending now a bit. So if she wasn't warding, this would be a pretty, potentially be a good Udyr gank. But if Udyr had showed up here, she has the ward there, and then she just Kura forms and runs away, and she'd be fine.
Jumps right back.
Yeah.
Ugh. I think she hits me again right here.
That's okay. You got pots. I mean, as long as you guys are stun up and stuff, she can't do anything to you. So, I mean, obviously you want to dodge it, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I was just kind of.
That you are ahead enough that's probably fine, but that's where you got to be careful. That was kind of risky. So, let me see if you still have the. That might have been okay. Let me look. So you're at half health.
Yeah, I think I had.
Yeah, see, that's dangerous because you got the mark on you still. So like.
I was waiting for her to engage on me because I had.
Yeah.
Like when that, I'm pretty sure I could kill her there. If I didn't kill her, I'd force her out. Like she'd be really low.
Yeah.
I didn't have Ignite, but it'd be really close.
Yeah, if you bait her in, yeah, maybe. It's just you're right. I mean, possibly you could. I mean, but the thing is, it's like you just kind of weigh how much that's worth. Again, since you're ahead enough, this is probably fine. She's probably going to back off and not go aggressive on you. If it were more even, I mean, you have enough burst that still you'd probably be okay. But if she's able to jump in and get some damage off and then come back after the stun and heal up and get some more damage off. So just be careful about stuff like this, because again, at half health, it's kind of rolling the dice a little bit again with the advantage you've created. And so, don't try to force and you didn't force it, I realize here, but you started to. So don't take a 50-50 chance or even a 60-40 chance when you could kind of bide your time and wait for an 80-20 chance, especially if you don't have a really solid idea where Wu is right now. Because that's going to be your Achilles heel.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, he kills me. Eventually, I know that. Full retard.
Ah. Okay, good. There you go. Nice. Yep. Solid. Okay. Okay. Speed through some of this here. Oh. Oh, you made it back. That's why they went in.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to turn the TV down? Or is that somebody else? If not, it's
That's
okay.
somebody else. I can get it down a little bit though.
Okay. It's not a huge deal, just
I'll be right back. I'll get it down.
okay.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay.
Thanks. Yep. Yep. She just has no idea what your power potential is.
But everybody does that. Like,
Yeah.
They get way too close.
Yeah.
This is where I go full retard.
So the thing to just be aware of, I guess, is just that those kinds of kills are going to be, you're going to be able to rely on that kind of thing less and less
Yeah.
as you get, because
Funny.
yeah, oops.
He gets killed though.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the smarter thing would have just been to take your advantage and go back and buy some stuff. So you kind of got greedy there. But basically, yeah, I mean, stuff like where people just don't know or don't understand how Annie works, you're gonna run into that, increasingly less often as you climb, and where people will get smarter and begin hanging back further, and you're not going to be able to pick up those kind of garbage kills like that. And so that's where you're going to have to you're going to end up relying a lot more on your just on your game knowledge rather than just taking advantage of people's stupid mistakes like that. And game knowledge, and by that I mean like you know that you need to be prioritizing CS, you know that you need to be warding, you know that you're able to roam really effectively because you're looking at the way the waves are moving and pushing, and you're able to judge that efficiently. And so then you're not going to roam down when it turns out that the wave was pushing, and so it ends up that they're under their turret, unless you're prepared to set up a turret dive. You're gonna look at it and see that the lane is because there's fewer minions here and there's more minions here, and it's going to end up here in about 30 seconds. So I want to clear the wave and roam, or that kind of thing. So that's where you're going to need to you're going to end up needing to just tighten up your overall game, because just being able to get super fed in lane, it'll happen sometimes for sure, but you won't be able to rely on that as your consistent path to victory. And what you're doing too is when you kind of are, even if you decide, you end up, instead of coming out of lane 3 and 1, maybe you come out of lane 2 and 0, or you come out of lane, whatever, 2, even just with 1 kill, but you've got a 30 CS lead. And yeah, it doesn't feel quite as awesome because you didn't just dumpster Nidalee, but you played it smart enough that you've still got a substantial gold lead. And nice, that was a really good flash. You played it smart enough, and so you still have a gold lead that you're taking the power back into your own hands of this stuff, because sometimes these risky kills and some of this stuff, and staying in lane like that and being aggressive without warding, you're kind of rolling the dice with how strong you're going to end up being coming out of laning phase, because you're leaving a lot of the power or a lot of the control up to chance. Maybe Wukong won't come, or maybe Nidalee is going to make a big mistake here. And so, you know, if you continue to play that way and your opponents are getting smarter, and Wukong is here more often than not, and Nidalee, you know, is playing smart and just sustaining and farming, then, you know, your dice rolls are going to come up. You know, your 50-50 is going to become more of a 60-40 and then a 70-30 against you.
Okay.
And so, you know, you're that playing smarter and thinking more toward outsmarting your opponent rather than just outplaying them, you know, mechanically. That's where you end up being able to, yeah, just kind of control your own destiny a little bit more, because you're taking fewer risks, but the risks you are taking are really high. You know, have a very high expected return. You know, or a much higher rate of success. Yeah. You know, you see that in higher elo games, and especially in the LCS. Like, it's not that uncommon for LCS games to end up with, you know, not that many more than like 10 kills on either side.
Yeah, it's just really.
Yeah, because the people aren't making that many mistakes, and mistakes are.
Hit a game a few days ago. It was like each team had 70 kills or something.
Yeah, yeah, and that just.
It was a 70-minute game though, but still,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, and you know that's.
I had 3 deaths the whole game. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and it can be kind of fun to have a game like where it's all, you know, everybody's just kind of going bananas, but it's also like just super chaotic.
Yeah.
And
especially it's Annie because you need the flash.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Oh yeah, they tried to. No, I don't know. I was typing. Morgan, Jinx, they were just going nuts. They were like, it was Morg. She was flaming everybody.
Oh. Yeah. That's always fun. Is your duo partner playing this game?
No.
Okay.
This is just solo queue.
Okay.
Yeah, he hasn't been on today. I don't know.
What does he play?
He's jungle. He's all right.
Okay, gotcha.
He's trying to ADC, but he's terrible at ADC. I just don't want to be like, dude, you suck at ADC. Don't play ADC.
Yeah, that's kind of harsh.
Might have to. But yeah, jungle, he's like Saint Vicious. He can't smite. Like I just try to like smite with my Q and W at the same time as Annie. Just try to secure these.
Nice.
But he's good though. Like he'll like if I'm, because most of the time I don't need ganks. But if I need like a little help, I'll just come in.
Yeah.
Last game I learned to never trust anyone in solo queue, because there was this Yi on my team. We had a Yi, so I'm like, all right, I'll get this Yi fed. I gave this Yi 3 kills to be in the game, like Yi 3 kill mid. I went in stun. I let Yi get it. 3 kills, then Yi went like 3 and 9.
Yeah. That's always a risk in solo queue. It can often be better to just be a little greedy, especially if you are playing a champion that can carry, you know.
Yeah, they had like a Tryndamere, and so I just wanted Yi to be fed, so we'd had a little bit of.
Right.
He did something.
Yeah.
But he just.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna speed up through some of this here.
Yeah, kind of. There's a lull.
So your CS is really low, kind of. And some of that is because, you know, you've been getting kills, and so you end up going back to base a little more often. So it's okay that it's like lower than, you know, it would be if you were just in a farm lane or something. But right now at 10 minutes, you're at 39.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And so that's just kind of going back to the same thing. As you're climbing, that's going to become brutal. You won't be able to. It'll be a long time before you're able to come back in a game because in a, you know, as you move into high silver and gold, and you know, it'll be pretty rare for you to be 3-1 and only have 40 CS at this point in the game. You know, it'll happen sometimes, but so that number, you know, that's going to become pretty important. It's a boring kind of a fundamental thing, and so it's not like super fun to practice or whatever, but
yeah, I did a practice like with Annie the other day, like just all sums and stuff. I got like at 10 minutes, I think I had like 98, just focusing on CS because of the queue. But
nice. Yeah. Annie is, you know, there's maybe a couple of matchups where you can get bullied and it's harder, but in theory, at least, Annie is, you know, has all the tools she needs to have a really high CS score. And, you know, plus you can come over here, you know, while there's a lull, you can come up here and dirty farm these. You know, even if you just take the little ones, that's still 30 gold, you know, while you're not doing anything else. So if you can consistently take those, you know, if it's just the little ones, you know, maybe not the first couple of clears for your jungler, but after that, you know, once you get an item or two, you're able to blitz them probably just with your W almost, so nice. So probably starting, not quite yet, it's still lane phase, but once you move into, you know, much where mid game is, it's more mid game. So kind of when the outer turrets go down is basically when that happens. Because with all the turrets still up, I guess there's one down, but most of the turrets still up there. People aren't going to be roaming very much, and so you're pretty much still laning. But anyway, as you move into mid game and teams are starting to group up and pressure the inner turrets and the dragon and whatever, it won't always be worth it to take kills like that if you have to spend your, you know, flash and everything, especially since Nidalee is 0-5 right now. She's worth less gold and will continue to be worth less and less gold. And so, you know, it's a situation where, again, this is just kind of a principle of the thing, right? You know, this was fine what you did because you didn't lose anything for it, but as it moves into a later game in that same kind of situation, you know, you can see an opportunity to kill Nidalee, but if Dragon's up in 30 seconds, is it really worth blowing your flash ult right then, you know? I mean, yeah, you could for sure get a kill, but man, you might get 4 kills and secure Dragon if you hold on to it, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, again, as you move up, teams will get better, you know. If Dragon's coming up in 10 seconds and Nidalee dies, she's like, oh well, you know, Annie flash ult down, we can Dragon. And so, you know, again, you get a kill, but Nidalee doesn't care too much because it'll end up being, it's fine that she died because her team will be able to secure that much more.
Yeah, like, I thought about like that, but I never really thought put in like the dragons and all that other aspects of it. So
yeah. So the gold aspect of it, you know, becomes less. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's not obviously not just dragon. It's any kind of objective or any kind of thing that might be developing. Yeah, and late game too is if things get super late, even more so. Just even, you know, blowing your whole combo on a single kill. There'll be a lot of situations where that will not be worth it. You know, if you can take out the, you know, if it's a situation where
EDC or something.
Yeah, if it's like the enemy team's like major source of damage or something, then maybe. But your combo will end up being important enough to your team that you got to be really careful about blowing it all on just one person. I don't know why you're bothering me right now. Dang.
I know.
Kind of greedy to recall there, but... Dude, don't do that.
Act like he's tricked to a G or something.
So, I'll just talk about a couple of things. Obviously, this isn't you. Jax right now is okay. This is okay because you can see that there's 2 people mid. He's got 1 person here, and I don't know if he has vision on Sivir or not. I don't know when she ducked into that brush, and then Brahma's dead. So as far as Jax being splitting right now, he's okay for now, but he doesn't have. Well, he has this ward, I guess, but he doesn't have any vision through any of the other entryways. So like the second that Wu and Nidalee go into the Fog of War, if they just like step back to here, then he has to leave immediately, basically, because for all he knows, they're making a beeline for him. So if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, if you're going to split like this, first of all, you need to wait until, like, you know, your splitting is all about making the enemy team make a choice. And so right now, the enemy team's thinking, do we need to go stop Jax, or should we pressure this turret? You know, maybe it's, do we secure Dragon, or do we deal with, you know, whoever's in the top lane, or whatever the case is. And so what Jax really needs to have done by now is set up a ward, at least one ward here, so that, you know, he can make a better judgment call about how long he can hang out here. And then 2, if you have somebody on your team that's splitting, you know, you need to do what you can to try and take advantage of the pressure that he's creating. So if Jax is here, you know, in a different situation where maybe this isn't happening, but, you know, maybe that's an opportunity for you guys to go do Dragon because you know that Jax is creating a distraction up here. But anyway, if you're splitting, or if your teammate is splitting, it's not, splitting isn't really about taking turrets and getting kills. Those are kind of
Getting
bonuses.
pressure off.
Yeah, it's pressure and making the enemy team make a decision. Nice.
She survives too. Then we chase her for really long. I don't know why I chased her for so long after this.
Yeah, see, this is free.
Yeah, I think.
So I mean,
Jinx-
so you
I mean,
realize.
Once I saw Jinx stay, though, I just said, okay, whatever. Maybe I can get her.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you guys are going to secure it anyway, so that's. But yeah, I mean, the thing is with this kind of thing is, I mean, obviously, I know you realize this is. What?
So what? Did you see that? I know. That's what I saw too.
I think maybe like the animation went off, but she went into the fog of war at like just the right split second, or maybe it could also be like a spectator glitch.
No,
What's
no,
up?
that's what actually happened. That it was like that. I threw it and it didn't stun.
I wonder if yeah, like you started casting it and then she went into the fog of war, and so
I think that's what
yeah,
happened.
that's annoying. It's kind of like an auto that appears to go but doesn't.
Oh yeah, them were always like he didn't die really.
Yeah. So, do you have a pretty accurate idea of what your how much damage your combo does at different levels and with different item breakpoints?
Yeah, like I'll know I'm like there, like here, like I know that I can take out like pretty much both of these. Like I know that I can just do enough damage to where, yeah, what you're saying, yes, like.
And I mean, do you know that? Is it kind of just you have a feel for it, or do you have like a semi like a ballpark like numerical number?
No, I just have it. I just have it.
Okay. Well, and that's honestly probably fine, at least for now. Especially in lane though, when you're 1v1, that can be a pretty useful thing to at least have a pretty close estimation.
Every once in a while I'll add up some numbers, but
Yeah.
we do a little division, but it doesn't really.
If you can have it so that you know at level 6 with like let's just kind of like a common item breakpoint. You can just kind of have a couple of breakpoints. Like at level 3, I do this much damage when I start with Doran's Ring, and so then between flash or between ignite and my full and QW, I do X amount of damage, and then so that way when you're trading with Nid, you don't end up with a situation where you go in because you have a feel for it and you go in and she ends up getting away with 10 health or something.
Yeah, like every once in a while that happens, I'll admit, because it's like they get away and like that last ignite tick didn't go off.
Yeah, exactly.
Early or.
So.
Like when it happens, it's always very like 5 HP.
Yeah.
Zonia's there? I did. I fight this turret off. This is funny. I know I have Zonias, so I can if one of those things is gonna hit me, I can like a Nid Spear is gonna hit me, I can just Zonias. I had my finger on the key, just ready for it.
Okay. Let's still. So, that's good that you had and that you're kind of thinking you have a plan to do what you're gonna do. But kind of like you kind of look at the situation right now. So they're wave clearing. They don't have much damage yet. It's still pretty early in the game. There's only a few minions, so they their ability to actually take this turret is really low. So like what is your what's like best case scenario? Like what are you gonna accomplish here? You don't really have enough health to even.
Just think like I was just gonna, if need be, I was just gonna go in on Sipper, and that would my Q and W would probably bring her down to the last 2 little marks of health, and then hopefully my W would have hit either Vlad or Braum. That would just Zonias. Hopefully they'd back off.
Well, maybe, but yeah, I mean, you can look at it and say, yeah, maybe you can get him to back off. Sivir has spell shield. You don't really have the damage to. You don't have unless. I mean, maybe you're able to get your full combo off, maybe, but you're so low that probably not. Maybe you get 1 or 2 spells off and then you have to Zhonya's.
Yeah,
and
the
so
whole they just back off.
Yeah, but they're already going to back off. Is my point here.
Yeah.
Because they can't keep pushing anyway.
Yeah, this
right.
is right when I back too. Once they get out of here.
So they kind of clear this, and you're still here, and it's just like, it ends up being okay, but it's just kind of a needless risk because they were already, if your goal is to keep the turret alive, the turret wasn't in any danger, and so you're sitting, you're kind of here, and you've got Vlad who can do really fast damage. You've got Nidalee spears that, I mean, you have Zhonya's, and so that's good. You might be able to do that, but it'd be nice if you didn't even have to blow that cooldown,
Yeah.
And so since you didn't really have a realistic expectation of being able to pick up a kill, and since the turret was safe anyway,
yeah, the Morg tried to surrender here. She was just...
Oh my gosh. Raging too hard to function.
I know. It's ridiculous.
There you go. Nice.
For some reason, I thought Wukong was still alive, so I W'd in the bush.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like the main source of damage. He just one-shot me.
Yeah. Good. I'm assuming they surrender here, because, or maybe you guys have time to blitz in, I guess, if you win a big fight at some point.
I think I'm not sure how it ends.
Oh boy. You gotta be, so, you should have, oh dude, you don't have your trinket upgraded. Okay, you're in trouble. I'm gonna spam chat you like 16 times a day.
Yeah.
Every time you're in game, reminding you to upgrade this thing. Because this is where, I mean, this kind of thing that you just did here, that's the kind of thing that will end up losing you games. Like right now it's early enough that you're dead, if you had died here, you would have been okay. But, that's that kind of thing and that kind of thinking that will end up starting to really cost you. Whereas if you have your yellow trinket or your trinket upgraded, or if you have wards, if you want to go red trinket, or whatever the situation in the game is, you come down here and you just pop the ward right over the wall. You sit here and just pop it over the wall, and then then you don't have to face check because.
Yeah, I thought they were mid lane, so I'm like, okay, I'll just go around and maybe get a stun.
Right, but
Yeah,
be sure, you gotta, again, when you get a lead, you want to definitely force that advantage because you have all the damage and you're a big part of your team's ability to win fights, and so you don't want to play scared. But you still got to play smart. You got to protect the fact that you have a lead, because because you look at the score on your team, it's 4-2, 5-7, 2-7, whatever. These are pretty normal scores. The new team has people that are similar, and then there's you, who's 12-1. So like, what are these guys all saying to each other about when they go into a team fight?
Focus Annie.
Yeah, delete Annie. And so you build Zhonya's, which is smart. Maybe some games you even end up building a GA if it gets that late enough, if they're doing a good job of focusing you.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you gotta adjust your playstyle too, not so that you're playing scared, but so that you are not taking needless risks and putting yourself in danger to where this 12-1 becomes 12-5, and then all of a sudden they're in a position to actually really contest you guys again, And so you throw a ward here instead of face checking. You're in just that sort of thinking. Just being as careful as you can so that you aren't giving up the advantage that you've worked so hard to create.
I might even get a quadra, maybe.
I believe.
No, dear. I think they get to it before I do.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably the game there then.
Yeah, it's GG.
Cool.
They were hitting. I don't know why they went for inhib when.
Well, that's fine to secure that, especially if it's not like super cut and dry, because Wukong's coming up and stuff. If you end up having to back off, it's better to have secured that inhibitor. But yeah, nice. Cool. Okay, so just kind of the biggest things here. You have a really good just grasp of what Annie is good at and what Annie's damage level and how to in the matchups and all that stuff, and so that's really solid, and that's definitely a big strength that you can flex. The things that are going to start biting you as you continue to climb is the CS, so that's something to practice and just be consistently beating yourself up on if if your CS numbers are lower than they should be. You can give yourself a little bit of a break if you're spending a lot of time roaming or doing other things, and getting gold and pressing advantage other ways. But you want to have at least, you want to maintain at least a 70 by 10 minutes. That's kind of a minimum, without some sort of really extenuating circumstances.
What around like 25?
25 is a little bit too hard to predict because at that point the game is kind of swinging one way or the other, and so after 10 minutes it's a little bit harder to pin down what's good. Perfect CS at 20 is like 220 or something like that. I think maybe like perfect is a little higher than that, but good CS is 220. And you'll see, so you'll see like the real Froggen and I think XPeke at some point in one of these last games got 230 at 20 minutes or something obscene, and so it's possible to get that high, but you probably won't in most games. But anyway, at 25 minutes, by that time, you guys are either snowballing, and so your CS score is either high or it's really low because you're just pushing, or you're losing, and so it's really hard to farm, and so your CS score is lower. And so at that point, there's enough variables that it's a little hard to say. But at 10 minutes, if you get 70 by 10, and so that's you've gotten 70 in 10 minutes, and then at 20 minutes, if you only have 100. Then that's, then your CS per minute has been cut in half or more than half, and so that can be a red flag, a problem. So right now at 27, you're at 163, and so you've kind of maintained a fairly constant CS per minute, roughly. It's just that CS per minute is really low.
Yeah, it's like 4 or something.
Yeah. So anyway. You can improve that, but the biggest thing, honestly, is just your hedging your bets, and so that you are taking smart risks and not risking handing back advantages, and that's in lane phase with your warding habits. That's in team fight phases when you're setting up areas before you're fighting in them, when you're trying to bait teams into fighting on your terms rather than just kind of wandering around and fighting the fights that you've happened to find. Because a lot of this stuff in bronze and even and continue through silver, and it'll be some of it's just kind of less so as you climb, but there's just a lot of garbage kills, a lot of scattered fights, and characters like Annie just absolutely thrive on that because you can burst people down so hard. But when teams are getting smarter and they're making sure to group up as 5, and then they're all sitting in this brush, and you guys end up coming in looking to catch somebody out.
That's always fun.
And all of a sudden it turns out that all 5 of them are there, and they kill you 2, and then you're over here, and now it's a 3v5, and you can't do anything. And so, even if you're 12-1, if you didn't take the time to make sure your team had set up vision, or do your part and ask your team to set up vision, then it doesn't matter how fed you are, it's going to get harder and harder to carry those kinds of situations. So you're wanting to just to make sure that you're not just playing opportunistically and not just relying on your ability to pick up garbage kills when people hand them to you. That's important, but you don't want to just rely on that. You want to also be making sure that you're increasing the intelligence of your play, and so you are not going to go past this point without warding. That's because unless you know for a fact that everybody is dead or elsewhere, if you can see them all on the map, you're just not. That's just the rule you have. You're not going to do it anymore because it's not worth the risk. It's not worth. I'm 3-0 right now. It's not worth the chance of being 3-1 and Nidalee getting a shutdown. And so I might pick up 5 CS. That's absolutely not worth Nidalee getting a shutdown. So I'm not going to go past that point until I have a ward to put in that brush or to put here or whatever. So that kind of thinking and just adjusting your thinking so that you are not gambling and not flipping a coin, even if it doesn't feel like you're flipping a coin. You kind of are with some of this stuff. You're a predator. You're planning and you're executing rather than gambling.
for like the
So
like after my first back, if like I come back, usually if I buy wards, I'll buy like a pink and two greens. Like I'll place the pink in one of the pixel brushes
mhm.
on either side, which I feel is going to come from, and I'll just put a green in
Yeah.
that in the brush right there.
Yeah, some
So
good places. Some good places. So a pink ward early on. A pink ward is nice to put defensively. So here or here,
yeah,
and that's as the game moves on, depending on whether you guys are winning or they're winning, then there's other places you can put it. But in lane phase, those are nice because that prevents them from invading and sneaking around behind you. The green wards, really good places are usually at the ramps,
okay,
because that covers all of this, and it covers all of this, and so
okay,
you have vision of this entrance and this entrance and even this brush if they're popping between these two things depending on where you put it. So you don't actually have vision of the brush, but you have
yeah,
vision
but
of everything leading up into it.
into the
Yeah,
brush.
and so that's really efficient use of the ward. And same thing over here. So if you're on red side, then this might be the better place in general because it gives vision of their jungle and the river. But it depends on how the game is going and where you think the jungler started and all that good stuff. So if you can ward both sides, that's even better. But often you'll only be able to ward one. So anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
And
Do you have
like
any? ahead.
once you like ward the once you get this, like if you only get to do one side, like when you ward, don't you just want to stay kind of on that, stay over there on that side of the map?
Yeah. So if you ward here, then you want to cheat to this side.
Okay.
Because you have warning, you have more warning. So it's all about the time you have to react. So if Wukong pops out of this brush, and you're here, you have very little time to react. If you're here, you have all this time to react. And if you have a ward here, then you have a similar amount of time to react. Because you have vision of this area. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay. Yeah, I was like, sometimes I'll do it, but I just don't know if it's like I was pretty sure that's what you should do, but I just didn't really know.
yeah, and it's always worth it. Sometimes it'll feel like the ward comes and goes and doesn't really gain you anything, but
Yeah.
it's just a habit to get into. It's always better to have the vision, and then because it helps your team out too. Then it prevents Nidalee from roaming up top ever, because you have
Yeah.
vision of it. And if you're winning, if you're doing well, if you're able to
Move
shove
them
the
up.
lane, yeah, move them up. But then you can even grab a ward and just pop it on the enemy's blue buff, and just keep
Yeah,
that warded for the rest of the game. This
Usually-
brush. Go ahead.
I like to put one over to the left, right in the middle of like where all the lane, like the junction right there.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great place. Yeah. This brush and this brush are great for early pinks because this one especially, but this one too, for whatever reason, rarely gets checked throughout the mid game. So you can have a ward, you can have a pink. If you're able to sneak a pink ward in here, it will often last you for several minutes. And I've seen this ward last for like the entire game.
Yeah, I've had like pink wards that just last the whole game. It's like,
Yeah.
wow,
So if you can sneak one in early enough, then this gives your team a really good insight into where the jungler is. And same thing here, honestly. So if you're able to sneak a pink in aggressively here, if you don't feel like you need it on back here, or you're going to keep this green warded, or somebody else warded, or whatever, then that can be really solid too.
yeah. Okay.
And as you're like moving around the map, like you kind of want to try to ward the areas of the map that are going to be contested next.
Yeah, I always like see it's like a minute before dragon. I'll go
Yeah.
ward it, then I'll back it,
Yeah.
heal up, get whatever I need to get.
Yeah,
back there.
exactly. And you can kind of predict like which quadrant of the map is going to be the next. So if even if dragon is down, like in this situation, if all things were even, and the other team was pushing, it's likely if dragon is up, it's likely that this is the area to ward, because your turret is down here and this one's up, and so the balance of pressure is kind of pushing up this way. You can kind of imagine just a seesaw that has the fulcrum right in the mid lane. And so, as they take the mid turret, now the pressure is moving in down here, and as they take this turret, then the pressure moves down here. And as they have momentum, you want to ward this area, because then if they have pressure here, and they have even more pressure here, and dragon is up, now they're going to be pushing into this side of the jungle. If dragon is down, maybe you move it up to here, because they're wanting to take the two outer turrets that are left. And so you want to ward all the traffic areas in here, because that's what they're looking to do. Since you guys are ahead, it's kind of the opposite. You want to ward in here so that you have freedom of movement. So it's not defensive, it's offensive warding. But you can kind of look at the map and see where the pressure is just by looking what objectives are up or where the teams are moving around and what they're looking like they're going to do, and then you carpet bomb that quadrant of the map with wards, so that you are preparing. You have the map, you have that area set up for your team fight, which might happen in 30 seconds or whatever. So, cool. Well, yeah, I definitely think that you have what it takes to get into silver. If not, even if you don't make this next promo, you'll get it before too much longer.
Some bronze 158 LP.
Yeah. So you're definitely doing well. It's just
7 in a row or something.
Nice. Honestly, the biggest thing that you can do to improve your win rate is warding, and just kind of adjusting your thinking so that you're thinking more like a predator. Yeah, more like a predator and less like a gambler. So, cool. Okay, cool, man. Do you have any other questions or thoughts or anything?
No, thanks.
Very cool. All right, yeah, thanks you.
Learned a lot from this one.
All right, I'll catch you later. Bye.
Yep.